just a few short weeks away, and Rumpier Sports is gearing up for the season with the best deal in DFS.
For a limited time only, we are offering new members a 15% discount for the life of their subscription, including SaberSim subs. Simply use the promo code NFL15 when subscribing to take advantage of this great deal before our prices go up.
And at RPS, we don't just give you access to one sport. When you subscribe to our premium service, we give you access to all of our content, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, and so much more.
And we're not going to charge extra for access to our preseason content either. Our memberships include all of our content, including the NFL preseason. The best DFS players in the industry give you access to their core plays and slate strategies for every sport and for every slate. Simplify your lineup building process by plugging in picks directly from the top players in the world. Watch our premium live streams to gain a huge edge on the competition. Our guys are live up to lock for the biggest slates, walking you through their last-minute decisions, analyzing breaking news and injury alerts for the major sports.
Again, for a limited time only, you can access our industry-leading DFS content for 15% off our already low price. SaberSim packages are included, so sign up today using the promo code NFL15 for 15% off your subscription for life and start building winning lineups today.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday Swing for the Fences show, joined by the usual crew, Hoop, Mango, myself, breaking down this monster 14-game slate. Coors Field is back in action. We got aces among aces among aces. It's a very fun slate. I'm excited to dive in after yesterday. I mean, we knew where the pitching options were going. We know where the hitting options were going. Yeah, Coors Field, the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be the chalk for hitting. Pitching-wise, though, there's a lot of options. There's a ton of ways to get different for hitting. So excited to dive in, talk about it with everybody. Mangone, I'll throw it over to you first. Haven't seen you in a little while. How's it going over there? What's your thoughts on this slate? Preseason football ahead. A lot of fun stuff ahead. What's going on?
Yeah, a lot ahead. I mean, July feels more like the dog days of summer than the August in MLB, just because what happens is like we start getting excited, like NFL's around the corner, right? You start seeing preseason and you kind of know, hey, like we're 30, I think it's 30 days away from like the first, commercial-free football. I'm not even talking about opening day. I'm talking about the Red Zone channel. So excited about that. But we got some baseball here to talk about. And you know me, Title, I don't love Coors slates, but I will say I kind of don't mind this one. And that's because we have probably the best, I might say it's the best pitching slate we've seen all year. That's how good it is. It's incredible. I mean, it's a lot of good aces to go to. And what happens is when you do play these guys up top, it is a little more difficult to make it work. But there are also cheap pitching options. There's mid-tier options as well that if you want to get Coors Field in, you can. So overall, should be a fun DFS slate to talk about. Definitely not one that we've seen that many times this year. So it'll be a good time to discuss this one here with you guys.
Absolutely. Derek and Chad said, are all three of you wearing the same shirt? Well, Mangone and Hoop have RPS, but Mangone, I see Under Armour. I do not see it on Hoops. And I am not wearing, I don't even know what this is, to be honest. I just pulled it out how most of my clothes are. So this is not, but no, I don't know. Hoop is one of yours long sleeve? Yours is
it's just regular. Oh, yours is the generic, the non name brand one.
Back in the day one. I have that somewhere for sure. The old one. Yep. So RPS. A little different shirts though, all black though. Two black hats over there. Mangone and Hoop might have coordinated a little outfit today and did not let me know about it. But Hoop, what's going on, man? How was yesterday's slate for you? Pitching, Mangone's, it has to be the best pitching slate of the year. If there's another one, man, it would have been loaded for sure. So what's going on?
Yeah, this is a great slate. Just to add on to what you guys said, it's like the pitching's so good. I mean, it's really good. You feel like if you're not getting one, if not two of those top guys on DK, you're potentially missing out because there's going to be some big boy pitching performances. Then finally, the sites did a good job of pricing the hitting as well, where if you do want to play a Cardinal stack, you will have to sacrifice something somewhere, whether it's pitching, whether it's your other three spots on FanDuel, whether it's your other four spots. It's really hard on FanDuel specifically if you want to play one of those top pitchers and stack the main guys on the Cardinals, which you like. And I think that will naturally go ahead and bring down the ownership a little bit on a team like the Cardinals. We got a 14-game slate. We have a ton of pitching to pay for. So it's an interesting slate, and I think it's going to be one of the more fun slates that we've had in a while because of the pricing, specifically with the hitting. The sites did a good job getting those guys up, and we've seen a lot of slates where the Coors pricing just isn't sharp. Today it's sharp, and you have to make sacrifices. So really excited for this one today, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one. Big prize pools as always. There's a couple on DraftKings like Lars Nootbaar. If he cracks the lineup, which I expect him, 2.3K. Like there's still some they messed up with, but generally, they've done way better today than they have in the past for sure. We got baseball dad in chat. He was talking about the Little League World Series instead of Hawaii hitting Little League bombs. I always used to enjoy that as a kid for sure. I always used to watch the Little League World Series and stuff. Saw today like a guy got hit in the helmet and then pitcher was crying. He was hugging him. I saw a couple people tweeting about that.
Yeah.
That was definitely making me laugh. Baseball Dad also, he said, Hagerstown, Indiana Little League. That must be by Baseball Dad. They are making some noise in the Little League World Series. It sounds like one half of a stoplight, he said, in the city. Man, if that one half, I don't necessarily know how that works, but very small city, probably by Baseball Dad. Shout out to them. Yeah, congrats to them for hopefully getting there. If they are, they're making some noise.
I
always
funny.
enjoy watching good baseball.
Just to add on to the Little League stuff, like growing up, you always watch it and you think it's like the best league there is out there. And it's funny because a lot of kids now that do travel, they don't play. Yeah, the best teams. So the best teams around don't play in the Little League World Series, whatever. You can't even qualify for it because
it makes sense because they pull. They don't want people pulling the best teams in every single state at the end of the day is what it is, right?
Pretty much. I mean, you have to stick to really strict guidelines to be eligible to play in the Little League World Series to get there. Now that I'm in this travel baseball scene, it's a different dynamic, but yeah, it is cool to watch regardless. I mean, it's very, very cool. Even at our age, our kids 8U, when they plunk a kid, we have them go over and just give the kid a little fist pound or something just to, make sure he's okay.
We never did that, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, so it's fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I think the rule is like you all have to be in like the same. I don't know if it's town or city. I mean, it's something along those guidelines though. You can't be pulling. They do have very strict ones on how they get it. So yeah, it's not the. I mean, there's still a lot of those teams that make it. I mean, are completely loaded. It's always cool seeing the overseas teams, the teams around here and compete. And you get some really good baseball games, some high level pitchers throwing like equivalent to over 100 miles an hour or something because you got the short mound. Yeah, I'll definitely tune into that stuff once it gets a little farther in Little League World Series. Yeah,
even like for the 8-year-olds that we did this past year, I mean, there's some kids, it's only 40, the mound's 40 feet away. Some kids that can throw 50. So 50 miles an hour from like 40 feet. I don't know what the equivalent is.
It's got to be like 80 maybe or something.
Yeah, you don't have much time. I mean, honestly, I'm watching some of these kids. I'm like, I don't know if I could honestly make contact if I got in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, and your kid's the perfect age. I mean, you already hit a home run. He's getting on the travel. It's only going to get more and more crazy. You're going to blink, and next thing you know, guys will be throwing 90 at the time that he gets to 8th grade or something nowadays. But yeah, August, you get Little League World Series. Haven't even talked about that. You cannot bet on that. If you want to find a degenerate friend to sit down with and try and make some wagers there, sure, you can do that. But there's no action for the DraftKings with that. But that's the Little League World Series action for you. Let's dive right into baseball. 14 games, a ton of action. As always, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. We always do appreciate it. We're hopping right into pitcher though, and man, we're going DraftKings pricing. I'm gonna say, man, 8K and above. There's just so many options. No, I'm gonna go 9K and above to start. Garrett Cole, Zach Wheeler, Ohtani, Freddie Peralta, Musgrove, Shane Bieber, Luis Castillo, Julio Urias. That has to be the best group of pitchers in the top tier that I've ever said for sure on a slate like this. Start with you. How are you breaking these guys up? Who are you fading? Who are you trying to jam in? Are you going to hit a lock button on someone? What's going on? And I do want to say something quick with the weather. It looks like Philly could be a concern. We'll be in Discord looking at it. Monitor Zach Wheeler though. Looks like the Baltimore-Toronto game possibly, maybe a little Mets. We're going to assume everything plays on this slate though, but don't plug in Zach Wheeler right now and you're gone for 4 hours and not check back into lock because there is some concern, I guess. But talk about 9K and above.
It's tough, man. I mean, it's very tough when you get up here. It's hard to make cuts, but we're all about kind of making those cuts and finding those fades. Any three of Cole, Wheeler, Ohtani, I think could be the leading fantasy point guy on the slate at pitcher. I wouldn't be shocked at any three of those guys. Now, Garrett Cole, same matchup here against Seattle last time out, where he gave up 6 earned runs in the first inning and then just cruised after that, ended up pitching 6 innings, got 8 strikeouts, salvaged himself. This ballpark is much more friendly for pitchers, so I'm fine going back to him. Really like the matchup for Wheeler here, and then you really have to love the matchup for Ohtani as well. So I don't know. I guess pitcher, it all depends how many lineups you're building tonight. Like, are you doing 150? Are you doing 20? Are you doing just one lineup? So for me, I guess the best way to explain it, like what I'm looking at doing today, is not necessarily caring who I get at pitcher. Like, to an extent, I'm going to make some cuts. Like, I'm not playing Freddie Peralta here, second start off the injured list. I'm not playing Musgrove. He just hasn't been all that good. Castillo, I take my chances that he struggles against the Yankees a little bit. And then Urias, I probably won't play. So I'm looking at Bieber, Ohtani, Wheeler, Cole, and I'll take any combination of those guys. Honestly, I love all of them. So I guess, for me, it's a slate where I'm not necessarily prioritizing anything at pitcher. Anyone in my pool today is going to be someone that I think can go out and be on the winner. When we're talking 9K and above, it's those 4 guys: Bieber, Ohtani, Wheeler, Cole. And honestly, it's just so hard to have a preference. I mean, we talked about it a little bit before we hopped on, and then, man, it's just so close between all those guys. I wouldn't be shocked if any of them had the big performance. So yeah, Bieber, Ohtani, Wheeler, Cole, love all of them. And honestly, I don't care who I have the most of when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that at all. Mango, I'm same thing, 9K and above. Are you going to cut out the same ones Hoop did? If I had to pick one of the ones Hoop cut out, I think it would be Julio Urias at 9K. You do get a little discount. You get the Twins. I'm not too worried about. He's been solid, but it's not. I mean, I can't argue with what Hoop's doing. Just picking the best 4. I think they are the 4 best pitchers, and cutting out everyone else 9K and above. So talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm in lockstep with the guys that Hoop liked, as crazy as that sounds, but it's just the truth. We'll say, if you had to pull a guy out, right, that of the ones that were cut out by Hoop, I might pick Freddie Peralta just because his ceiling is pretty insane, and the ownership, no one's going to be on him, right? He is just at that perfect price point where he's the most dead range guy of all of them, right? So I think overall, because of what his upside can be, and I understand his floor is worse than a lot of these other pitchers, but that's the guy that I would pick out of the ones that we basically don't like right now. I'm in kind of lockstep with Hoop, though. Like Garrett Cole, my favorite one is Ohtani. Let me start there. Ohtani's my favorite. He is cheapest, only $200, so it's not a huge price difference. He gets the matchup against Oakland. It's in Oakland. Got the day off yesterday, so that's at least something that, hey, could be an encouraging thing for him to be able to have a day off before he pitches. Has a 7.5 strikeout prop, juiced heavily on the over, similar to Garrett Cole. But overall, Ohtani just feels like one of the best floor ceiling combination pitchers on this entire slate, right? I just don't see Oakland getting to him for maybe they get a home run or two, maybe, but I do not see the route where he just gets completely blown up against Oakland. So that's what I like there. Zach Wheeler's my number 2, very similar to Ohtani, gets a matchup against Miami. Miami's not a good team, has a pretty good strikeout prop at 6.5. What's the one concern though? The pitcher, the park, it's not a pitcher's park there in Philadelphia. It's 90 degrees. So that's the one thing you would say that's a little bit of a knock against Zach Wheeler, but it's a really rough Miami lineup. So overall, I got Wheeler at number 2. I got Cole at number 3, and I don't have a strong lean as him at 2 or 3. Mainly the reason I put him at 3 was because, hey, he just kind of did get beat up by Seattle, and Seattle, they've been hitting the ball a little bit better. So that is one of the concerns I have. The good news is it goes from being the park in New York to playing in Seattle, which is pretty good for Garrett Cole. And what is Garrett Cole's problem? Well, he is elite with strikeouts, but his big issue is he always kind of gives up at least a home run, it feels like, each start. Well, this is a park that could suppress that. So it is a good spot for Garrett Cole. Like him, I see similar ownership on all these guys where I'm not really worrying about. I'm not going to be well, this guy's, X amount of ownership, so I need to worry. No, I'm not going to be as concerned about that. But what I am going to think about when I kind of play my pitchers is let's say I was playing 10 lineups. I'm not going to play 80% Ohtani, right? And then have like maybe 20% Garrett Cole. I'm really going to spread my pitchers out more and just try and hit like different combinations and find those ceiling performances, because that's what I think we want to be doing on this slate. So that's how I rank those guys up top. My guy in the 9K range that I like the most, it's Shane Bieber at 9.4K going up against the Tigers. We know the Tigers, they struggle a ton against right-handed pitching. It just seems like a really good spot for him. Also, if you look at some of the numbers on him, he really hasn't gotten like hit too hard with like some hard contact. And that's sometimes where the Tigers can get a hold of you, right? Like the guys like Javi Baez and Eric Haas. I really do think that this Tigers lineup, it's gotten worse. There's no Robbie Grossman in it anymore. So overall, I think we want to take Shane Bieber in this 9K range at 9.4K. And those are like the 4 ones that I'm really looking at. And again, because of like the nature of this slate with all these amazing options above 9K, I'm really not looking to go too far down below. Yes, there are some pitchers that we can talk about later on that are interesting. And if you like going for cheaper, that's perfectly fine. But there's just so many guys that are gonna be able to hit these ceiling performances. Like Hoop, if there was a slate where Big T, pulls out that 2 guys are going to get 40 points on us, like he did on the premium show, this would be the slate, right? There's just so many good options here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just need to find our Patrick Corbin down here.
There are some guys we can talk about. I don't have that much interest in them, but maybe as we discuss, I'll get more interest, and maybe the chat can talk about it, because there are some interesting guys down here, but I do worry about them having that kind of ceiling performance, but I'm definitely interested in talking about it.
Before we get down there, D. Smith brought up something. He wants us to touch on the projected ownership for those top guys quick. And I do think that is a good point on a slate like this. I think we see pitcher the Cole, Wheeler, Ohtani, Bieber. I think Ohtani is going to be the highest owned of the 4. I feel pretty confident with that. Maybe 35%, something around there. And I think all the other 3, Cole, Wheeler, and Shane Bieber, assuming that all those games play, I think you see them very, very similar. Somewhere around 20, 25% and all that. I don't think you see a big difference from those 3. So I think it's Ohtani in his own tier. And you ain't seeing 50% or anything like that on any of these pitchers on a slate like this. But you guys both agree, Ohtani somewhere around 35, the rest of the 3 kind of similar, or do you guys have a different take? I'll start with you, Hoop.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty spread out. I do think Ohtani's probably the highest out of those 3 up top. Bieber's going to get some decent ownership, but really it's just, to me, it's, we've talked about a lot. It's nothing to worry about. Like, I'm not playing my pitchers based on ownership. Most nights I don't. Today specifically, just because it's going to be spread out. 14 people will play a bunch of scrubs down here. People will play them. Those little 2, 3, 4% ownerships all add up. I'm just playing the guys that I think can get 30 fantasy points tonight. So not really a concern of mine whatsoever.
Title. The only way it changes, Title, is if like Philadelphia, like let's say that weather gets real bad, right? Like,
yeah. I mean,
if it starts getting nervous, you're going to see, let's say Wheeler, we see at 20%. You're going to see that come down to maybe like 10. And then you'll see it allocated towards Cole and Ohtani. So that's kind of the only ownership that I would see happen to make a big change. But other than that, I think it's really spread out. I'm not thinking about that as much. I'm more so just trying to kind of capture some ceiling performances from pitchers. And then I think condensing on the bats might be the best approach on this slate rather than condensing on your pitchers. Just depends on what route you want to go. Let's say you start condensing on pitchers. Well, then you have more routes to go with the hitters. Just understand you might lose that ceiling performance, right? If Freddie Peralta goes for like 40, or let's say, Julio Urias goes for like 35 and ends up being on the winner, well, then that could be, frustrating for you. And there's some cheap ones that we're going to talk about here shortly too, that could give you a completely different construction from the field. It just depends if you think that they can hit, a high enough score, and then those extra bats are enough to get the job done for you as well.
Yep, we'll get right into the cheaper pitching. I'll just say 9K and all the way down, since I think a lot of these are pretty easy cross-offs. I'll throw out a couple names that I think stand out that might get some of the ownership. Carrasco, I think, gets the most ownership below the 9K that we haven't talked about. I think he's very solid at 8.2K against the Cincinnati team. I'm not worried about. You expect to pencil in the win. I do like the Mets bats a little bit. Outside of him, like there's Jose Urquidy at 7-1 against Texas, Marcus Stroman against this awful Washington team in the good pitching weather. One other name I'll mention if you want to go all the way dumpster diving. I'm not going to get there myself, but James Caprillion all the way down there at 5.6K. I think some people might go there if you want to go all the way down. Tons of other names that I didn't mention though, like Alek Manoah and all that. And go 9K and below. Talk about some of the guys you have interest in.
Is it Hoop or me?
Man, go.
Okay. I mean, maybe you said it and I missed it. I wouldn't.
I did. I know I said it, but maybe it wasn't very clear.
Nah, you're good. All right. So let's talk about these cheaper ones because there are. I know you said there's a lot of. You felt like there's some cross offs, and I agree. There's definitely a lot of guys you can cross off, but
Well, there's like 9K and below. There's probably like 20 pitchers down there, so I'm not listening.
That's fair. It's a fair point. There's a lot of interesting guys though. Let me start with Carlos Carrasco at 8.2K. That's a guy that I'm really interested in on this slate. If you look at him, obviously a good matchup against the Reds. If you like, the implied team totals, just only their team, it's at like 3, right? And there's some spots I'm sure you could find it at 2.5 with like the juice on the over. But the point I'm getting at is this is a pretty good spot for Carrasco. 5.5 is his strikeout prop on some sites. I saw 6.5 even last night. So he's got a pretty good strikeout prop for only 8.2K against Cincinnati. This just seems like too good of a spot for him. Really like him at 8.2K. Definitely going to be in my pitching pool. After that, though, yeah, it gets a little tougher. The next guy I'm considering is kind of a couple guys in the 7K range. Marcus Stroman, you talked about him a little bit. Not a guy that I'm dying to play just because my big issue I have with Marcus Stroman is he's more of a ground ball pitcher, not really a strikeout guy. Like if Marcus Stroman goes out there and like gets 8 or 9 strikeouts, I'm pretty shocked, right? Like he just doesn't typically do that. He more so pitches the contact. He's a ground ball pitcher. If he gets a guy on first, he's trying to get that double play. I mean, yes, I get it. A lot of pitchers want to pitch to that, but because he's a ground ball guy, he looks for that. That's just how he is as a pitcher. So I don't love Marcus Stroman at 7.2K. If you want to play him and you have a strong lean on him, or you have a strong lean on any of these other pitchers that have like a high ceiling, like go for it, but it's just not going to be me. We got to make some cuts somewhere. Just because we make a cut on a guy doesn't mean he's not a good play. Jose Urquidy's the next guy. He's going up against Texas. We know he can go long. We know he has the ceiling, right? That's the key with him. He definitely can get blown up at times, but he does have the ceiling to have a big game. So I don't mind him. Projection's pretty good. It's in Texas as well, which is encouraging. So don't mind him. The next guy I really wanted to discuss that I'm not sure what to do with. It's these 2 cheap guys. It's Caprillion and it's this Tommy Henry guy. I don't know that much about Tommy Henry, but the matchup, it is pretty good. His projection has looked good too, but it's just not the right slate for me. If you want to go all the way down to the bottom, you can go for him perfectly fine, but not for me. I just don't think you're getting enough ceiling, right? Is Tommy Henry really going to go out there and get 25 DK points? I'm just not buying it. His strikeout prop is 4.5. Then you got James Caprillion. He's got a 4.5 strikeout prop as well. Both of them juiced on the over. The only thing I don't mind about Caprillion compared to someone like Henry is he's going up against the Angels. We know how bad this Angels team can be, and they can strike out a ton. And on top of that, the other key is I feel like he can go deeper into the game, right? If you want to look for the Patrick Corbin, who maybe it's him, right? He's a guy that's stretched out enough. I don't know how stretched out Tommy Henry is. I haven't seen this guy go 9 innings or anything crazy like that. That's just the one thing about Caprillion I could think is maybe he can go deeper into the game. And with this Angels team not being very good, they're not going to kill your pitch counts as much. They're not going to walk a ton. And maybe that's how you can find that cheap pitcher that gets the job done. So if I had to pick in this range below 9K, my favorite guy is Carrasco, followed up by Caprillion, and then no strong leans on the rest of them. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Tommy Henry guy, so what? He has had 1 start so far in the major leagues. He threw 89 pitches. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, I guess, with him. Like, he's not this big time prospect that's supposed to like take over the MLB and stuff. I'm not expecting like huge strikeout numbers. That's why like Caprillion just feels a little safer to me. I love targeting this Angels team right now at the end of the day. They're just so bad. But no, I think Tommy Henry's in consideration too. Saw a couple people in chat say his name. Like, I don't have a strong lean, a very strong conviction on Caprillion or Henry. For me, though, I'm just not going to play either of the guys because, man, there's just so many good pitchers on the slate. But I don't blame you. It gets you on a different roster construction. 9K and below, there's a lot of guys talk about. I mean, you like the guys up top? Are you just saying screw everyone below 9K, just lock in these 4 guys up top, or what?
Yeah. So again, it kind of goes back to how many teams you're playing, how many lineups you're putting in tonight, like what you want to do. But pretty much agree with Mangone down here. So like the case for a Caprillion is, well, if you're not playing 2 of those top guys, you want to make sure that you're on roster construction that's much different than people that are playing 2 of the top guys. Playing a guy like Caprillion immediately gets you way different than what those lineups are going to be able to do. That's the case for Caprillion. If I was making 3 teams tonight, I wouldn't play Caprillion. If I was making 10 teams tonight, I might play Caprillion. If I was doing 150, which I'm not tonight, I would definitely have him in my player pool. Now, the next guy that I'd considering down here is your Quiddy, because I think he has shown the upside to get close to those guys up top. Obviously, the last start could be a little bit of an outlier, but 38 fantasy points. He's got a 22 fantasy point game. He's got a 28 fantasy point game in the last few weeks. So he can, in my eyes, get there. A guy like Stroman, just very steady, but I'm not seeing the upside with him. Like, he had one game over 20 in his last like 6 or 7 starts. So he's off the list for me. And then Carrasco, I love. I mean, 8.2K. Just, this is the time of year where I love picking on dead teams that just don't have the motivation to really grind out at bats, and that's kind of where the Reds are at. I mean, their team total tonight is under 3. Carrasco's been solid, and again, he's another guy that I think has the upside to get to those guys up top. So Carrasco, your Quiddy, and Caprillion are the 3 guys that I'm looking at down here. So that kind of puts my player pool or pitcher player pool at 7 or 8 guys. And like I said, I feel good with most of them. Caprillion, though, I'm not going to be a core play, not a guy that I'm going to play like 30%. But, if you're doing 150, if you play 10% of them, 10% of your lineups are going to be, a lot different than the rest of the field. So it's kind of where I'm at pitcher.
Yep, definitely makes some sense. Joe A in chat said, any extreme pitcher umpires today? The only one I'm seeing is in Philly for Zach Wheeler, Doug Eddings. So if you like that stuff, Joe A, extreme pitcher umpire, looks like only Zach Wheeler. But man, like something like to note for these pitching, you always have to look at weather. I mean, MLB, whether you from the first day of the season to the last day, weather is always important. But right now, especially like you look at Wheeler, it's going to be warm there for sure. It's going to be like 90 degrees. Whereas you look at someone like Ohtani, it's going to be under 70 degrees. And it's just so much, the ball just doesn't fly nearly as much and stuff like that. So looking at tiebreakers, if you like looking at umps, I think that's a way to do it on the slate. I look at weather a lot, so that's how I'll be trying to differentiate the Ohtanis, the Wheelers, all that stuff for the world too. If I'm debating something, I think look at weather, look at umps, something like that, and it gives me a little lean. Before we get into the rankings, a couple of people have asked about Charlie Morton. It's a no for me. There's just so many options on this slate. Man, go and talk about Morton if you have any interest.
Yeah, I mean, Morton's tough. The one thing about like Morton too is like this game, I believe it's in Boston, correct? And Boston's definitely not a spot that we love to target these pitchers. On top of that, like, yes, Morton, he's pitched great, but this Red Sox team, like, I don't know why, but like they're pushing to like, try and win, like, and they made deals and stuff. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So overall, I guess Boston's a team that people have been picking on. It feels like the wrong slate to do it. Let's say you picked on Boston every single slate, and like you just feel like you've always been on the right side of it, and you want to take a stab, like maybe do it in one of your 10, go for it. But like, again, like it's just not for me on this slate. There's just so many better pitching options. Let's say picking on Boston for another slate. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, a little over 80 degrees there too at Fenway. And then Hoop, I'll go to you if you want to touch on Morton quick. And then someone asked about Alek Manoah. We didn't mention him. There's a reason I didn't mention him. I just don't really have interest. 8-9 pitching's loaded. That is one of the weather concerns on this slate too. And it's 90 degrees there as well. So it just got the X for me. I mean, on different slates, yeah, these guys are definitely talked about, but talk about Morton, talk about Manoah.
Would I be shocked if Morton or Manoah were on the winners tonight? Absolutely not. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at all if those guys had stellar performances, but you can't play everyone, and you got to make your stands. You got to make your cuts. I mean, if you look at the names on the slate, you could come up with 20 pitchers that you probably potentially want to play, maybe 15 to 20, somewhere in that range, but you just can't do it. You're signing yourself up for a loss. So yeah, they're guys that, not going to play tonight, but like you said, a different slate. Yeah, for sure. Those guys might be the top options, but just got to make some cuts. And those guys, unfortunately, are going to be out for me tonight.
Yep. So give me your top 4, try and get in order. I know you're not going to, is it just those top guys?
I mean, I'll man, it is tough. Wheeler, Ohtani, I think I like up top. Bieber, Carrasco, and then maybe Garrett Cole. I don't know. The issue with Garrett Cole is like, man, when he's off, and he kind of has been off for 3 straight games, it's a lot of damage, man. Like the ball's leaving the yard, he's giving up home runs, and I don't know. I guess he would be the odd man out for me tonight.
Man, go on top 4 pitchers.
Yeah, top 4 pitchers. I'm gonna go Ohtani 1, Wheeler 2, Cole 3, and then. Man, it's tough to beat Bieber and Carrasco. I'm going to lean Carrasco though, just because I think that savings of like that, like 1.2K. That might be enough where if I'm playing one of these top end arms, like a Cole, Wheeler, or Ohtani, being able to pair that up with an 8.2K guy, that might be enough to be able to get the stacks to work the way that I want to. So I'm going to go with that. That's kind of going to be my 1 through 4.
I like it. That is pitching on this 14-game slate. It's as good as you'll ever see. That's for sure. Should be a fun one. Should see some big pitcher scores today. As always, hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. If you're interested in Run Pure Sports, I saw, man, I got to find this name quick. Snap McCormick. Hey, guys, just signed up, ready to win some money, he said a little while ago. Love to hear it, Snap. Make sure you do get in the Discord if you're not already. Premium show, as always. We'll be on at 6 Eastern, breaking out up to lock. We got Boynton's playbook up today, core plays, cash chart, all that stuff. As always, the Wednesday golf premium show. All that. NFL 15 gets you 15% off every single month if you do not cancel. SaberSim is also included in that. And man, it feels like it's been a little while since I've read some members never win segments. It's been pretty hot over here in multiple sports. So let's shout out some of our members. Drew CA won $8,000 in MMA. Nova won $8,000 in MMA. Toadguard, $14,000 in NASCAR. T-Rab, $14,000 in PGA. Shibby, $15,000 in PGA. Michael Smith, $15,000 in PGA. Hockey, 8812, $44,000 in PGA. Family Auto Rentals, $10,000 in MLB. And then Simo's been on a heater, as he always is, $50,000 in MLB. And then another $100,000 in MLB. I think he had some tickets in there as well. Man, that's what, 3 sports I just mentioned, maybe 4 sports. A lot of those screenshots too, like $100 into 8,000, $100 into 14,000. Just shows you don't have to be putting thousands and thousands in to win the big bucks. So congrats to all of you. Tons of winners out there. I know there is a lot more too that we didn't cover. If you do want to get on this segment, drop it in the members never win part of Discord, and you do have a chance to get on this segment. So congrats to all you winners. Hit that like button, hit that big red subscribe button as always. NFL 15 is the promo code, but let's get into these monster slate, 14 games on it. First game of the slate, Toronto Blue Jays, the Baltimore Orioles, Alek Manoah, Kyle Bradish on the mound. Good hitting weather, about 90 degrees in Camden. Always got to go to you first, Soup, when it comes to these Blue Jays. Talk about this game.
Yeah, they kind of failed us last night against Jordan Lyles. I like going back to him here tonight. Matt Chapman, we talk about him, I think, on every single show that we do. And we like him a lot because he typically bats like 6th or 7th. He's expensive.
Just keeps getting it done.
Yeah, well, now he got the promotion. He's batting cleanup tonight. So I do like this lineup that they have out. Should be lower owned. I mean, 14 game slate. We have the Coors game. I like going right back to him. The one thing I would say though about the Blue Jays, if you are playing them, I'd be sticking to the top guys. I know Biggio hit the home run yesterday, but not going to be on Biggio, Tapia. I want the guys up top: Vlad, Kirk, Chapman, specifically Bichette. So yeah, in on Toronto, and then going to be off Baltimore. Just no need to pick on some of these top arms. I mean, there's so many really good arms here on the slate. Like, not going to be picking on the top guys. So Toronto, top of the order for a million play for me.
And going.
Yeah, I think Toronto's in play, not a team I'm pushing my chips on. They might make for like a pretty good mini stack today, just because if you are going to play some of these other offenses and you're trying to jam in these top end arms, well, one thing that's nice if you look at these bats, you can get Kevin Biggio, Ramiel Tapia, Espinal's one of the cheap options to mix in there. And Alejandro Kirk's at 4.4K, Gurriel's at 4K, you got Bichette at 4.4, Chapman at 4.6. You do have some not bad price tags on them, right? You're not having to spend the 4.9K for Kirk anymore, or Bo Bichette's not 5.3K. So that Toronto mini stack, even as a 2-man or 3-man, might kind of grade out pretty decent on this slate. So don't mind it for that. But again, not an offense that I'm prioritizing at all on this slate.
Yeah, makes sense. Tony and Chad, I'm sorry. He said position instead of game by game, please. I think you're in the contrarian for that. But we go game by game because that's how you really build GPP teams at the end of the day. Or all of us like to stack. I think 5-man stacking is very important. And I think and Baseball Dad responded and stuff, how it's just easy. Like Baseball Dad, it sounds like has Sabres sim up right now. We go game by game. No one talked about the Orioles. He just X out the Orioles from his whole player pool. I think that is pretty smart too. Game by game, it was what most people like, I think. So we're going to go with that. Sorry, Tony, though. We list some individual players at individual positions throughout the stacks that we like. Next game on the slate, Miami Marlins, the Philadelphia Phillies, Braxton Garrett and Zach Wheeler on the mound. 90 degrees in Philly. This is one of the delay spots. Someone mentioned in chat they were interested in Braxton Garrett a little bit as a pitcher and a different slate, maybe as a contrarian option, I would say. So me personally, no. Mangone, any hitters in this game? Anything you want to touch on for Braxton Garrett?
Yeah, wrong slate for Braxton Garrett. Would not be playing him, and I don't need the Phillies offense today. I mean, again, 7.5 total. I understand. Yes, it's because probably the Wheeler side more so, but I just think that I want to keep my hitters a little tighter today, and I don't think the Phillies are just going to make the cut. So I'm going to be out on them here on this slate.
2 for 2, hoop, 7.5 total. I think it's going to be an X button for you.
Yeah, one of the last teams that I kind of cut out, the Phillies. I wouldn't mind getting there just because of like Rhys Hoskins, how hot he is. So I guess I'm going to keep him in as like a one-off. But the rest of these guys, you look at the lineup and I feel fine like fading it. I just what's really going to punish me here outside of Hoskins. So I'm going to keep Hoskins in as a one-off. The problem like Kyle Schwarber would be a good contrarian option, but 6.2K, on the slate where we have really, really good pitching, like just can't do it. So unfortunately going to be out here. Real Muto 5.7K. You're paying a big premium for the core of their lineup. So it'd just be Hoskins for me, and that'll be it.
Yeah, not very often you can get Schwarber at 2% ownership, but you'll see that there with the price tag, lefty. Next game on the slate, the Cincinnati Reds, the New York Mets, Mike Minor, Carlos Carrasco on the mound, 85 in New York. Man, the Mets were chalk yesterday, pretty much busted. Starling Marte got there, but the whole stack did not. I am jumping right back to them. This is one of my favorite stacks on the slate for sure. Man, the problem is like Mark Hanna in the 1 hole. He has pinch hit risk. Darren Ruff in the 5 hole. He has some pinch hit risk. Nito down there. Guillerme. Man, I wish the lineup was a little better, to be honest. So maybe not my favorite stack, but I definitely still have interest in this Mets. I feel like Mike Minor's been pitching since I've been in diapers, so I'm good just going right back to him. Talk about this game.
Yeah, I mean, basically the same thoughts as you. On him yesterday, going right back to him here today. Big team total, great matchup against Minor. The one drawback is the point that you mentioned. Like they have a different roster now after the trade deadline. And if a righty comes in, big Dan Vogelbach is going to, take one of these spots, most likely Darren Ruff. Brandon Nimmo will be coming in for Mark Canha when a righty, assuming the game is relatively close. If they get to him early and they just, blow him out, well, these guys will probably stay in. So you're running the risk of pinch hit. So for me, who won't get pinch hit for? Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Eduardo Escobar probably won't get pinch hit for.
I mean, if McNeil's in there, lefty.
McNeil's staying in there for sure. So, that's kind of where you're at. Canha, Ruff, Guillermo. I'd assume Nito probably stays in there. So Canha, Ruff, and Guillermo, or is it Guillermo or Guillermo? However you pronounce it.
I mean, he's lefty too. He's in there.
Yeah, so he probably stays in too. So
I think it's
Canha
just Ruff and Canha is a really scary one.
And they're very likely, assuming it's not a blowout, to get pinch hit for. So just know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, they can smash, Minor in 2 at bats regardless. So still in play, I think, but not like an all-in situation for me because of the pinch hit risk.
Yep, makes some sense, man. Going Mets, Reds. You're the Mets fan. I saw you and Gary were going back and forth a little bit with it. Talk about this game and talk about are the Mets going to be hoisting the trophy at the end of the season, man? Going.
I mean, I kind of feel good about them hoisting it. I will say I was very I wanted to see like DeGrom and Max right out there. And then I was like, okay, like if I see it, I'll be like wheels up, ready to go to root them home. So excited to see it. When you root for the Mets all your life, it hasn't been the most fun, but especially with the Yankees in town, but excited to see what they can do this year. And I'm definitely on them here in this spot. Yesterday they disappointed a little bit, but like they got stolen bases and like you had them as a mini stack. They were fine. And like, I think they were okay.
That dude, side note, that dude definitely cannot hold runners on, man. They were, everybody was running on him.
Just gone.
Yeah.
No, definitely a good mental note to take for all the rest of the matchups for him. And I'm sure we'll see that guy like most of the year, right? Because like when you have a team like the Reds that just like nail it in, you see these like guys for 2 months that just like literally just get destroyed. Like there was Matt Manning a couple, maybe last year or 2 years ago, where he just kept getting rocked every single time. So yeah, you're going to see that guy out there a bunch. You guys talk about the pinch hit risk. I agree with you on the Canha thing, agree with you on the rough thing. And that's why you can just play like Marte, Lindor, Alonso, and then like McNeil's a great option. Escobar is pretty much in play. And like the thing I really like about Luis, I always get butcher his name, Guillermo, Guillermo, him and Thomas Nido. The thing is, one, you can put them at second base or third base. I think for Luis, you put him at second base because that's typically a position that's not great, right? Same with Nido. Catcher's not typically great either. And those can naturally be punts where that could allow you in your mini stack to grab another big bat, right? Maybe that allows you the ability to go from Giancarlo Stanton to Aaron Judge, right? It just might be able to give you an upgrade sometimes when you're building out your teams. So that's one thing that I really like about this team and the way it's set up is their second base option and their catcher. One, I don't think Nito's going to get pinch hit for. I really don't think they'll pinch hit the catcher that much. And they're not going to pinch hit Luis because he's an amazing fielder. So there's no point in doing that. So overall, I think this is a good spot for these Mets. If you want to stay away from Canha and Ruff, that's perfectly fine. I do think Canha can get the job in the outfield at 3.5K, but if he does get pinch hit for, yeah, that could be a little bit frustrating. But overall, I want to make sure I'm getting in Lindor and Alonso on my teams. And then I want to kind of pair some of these guys at the bottom of the order and then whatever kind of fits in the last spot, whether it's McNeil, whether it's Marte. I think there's just a lot of good opportunity with this Met stack to be able to jam in these top end arms that we like. And then you can kind of have enough to make a decent mini stack along the way with it.
So Bobby asked, I'm going right back to you, man, going, if in single entry, and I'm just going to say all tournaments in general, but Mark Canha, Darren Ruff, would you avoid them? I know you just mentioned a little bit like Mark Canha can't get the job done. Would you max it 1 of 2? How are you approaching that? Are you just saying you're hoping that they should get 2 at bats at least? And at the end of the day, maybe they don't get pinch hit for. Those 2 do stand out as the 2 that would, though. How are you approaching that? Bobby's wondering.
Yeah, I think you can max it, right? Like you could do like that rule, but I would definitely make sure, like, for instance, like those typical players, what I like to do is like, if that player is going to be like 10% owned, like let's say Darren Ruff's going to be 10%, do I need 40% Darren Ruff? No, I don't. So like maybe I'll put him at like 15 or 20. Like I'll cap it to a degree. That way it's not just like, messing everything up. I think that's not a bad way to go about it. So yeah, that's kind of my overall thought process on it. And I just think this Mets team, like I said, having the ability to go like Nido and Luis on your teams, just without them being pinch hit risk and getting those extra at bats, you're able to jam in a really nice other stack with it. For instance, if I do Cole and Wheeler with Nido and him as well, what I get is I have 4.1K for my, like all the rest of my positions, which like, that's pretty good. When you plug in Pete Alonso, right? And then you plug in Francisco Lindor, I'm not going to build everything out. Now I'm at 3.3K with like 4 spots left. So I'm able to punt 1 spot. I'm still able to get some good 3K and 4K options. So that's what I think the Met stack allows you to do on this slate. And if those top end arms smash like we expect them to, well, those are routes where it might be able to work. And as long as you don't get burned in a position like a catcher hitting 2 home runs, you might be okay to get away with it on this slate.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. Second base and third base eligible for Guillermo. 2K for Nido at catcher, 4.1K. You get out at 2 pretty weak positions, and you can wrap it around for the top guys. And we like upper tier pitching, so I think that all makes sense. We know in baseball you can win with zeros in your lineups. We see it all the time. So good points there. Hit that like button for us, please. Hit that big red subscribe button. Over 500 watching, 196 likes right now. 300 is the number we need for the plays of the day. We appreciate if you hit it. We still got a lot of games left to talk about, but hey, why not hit it now if you're just going to hit it in 25 minutes anyway? So we appreciate if you get it done for us. 300's the number. Cleveland Guardians, Detroit Tigers, Shane Bieber, Tyler Alexander on the mound. 7.5 total hoop. What you think?
Pass.
Yep, Mangone.
Yeah, I think we can pass on that one. No need. And again, we're going to pass on a lot of these games coming up. It's definitely going to happen.
I don't know about this one, though. The Atlanta Braves, the Boston Red Sox, Charlie Morton and Rich Hill on the mound. We got 82 degrees, it looks like, in Boston. Sign me up for some of these Braves. Rich Hill is just like a Mike Minor, in my opinion. But Fenway, decent hitting weather, guaranteed 9th inning at bat for this Braves team that I always love to play. Man, Braves, I think they are my favorite stack on this slate today for sure. Mangone, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the Braves. And one reason why we like the Braves is we look at this lineup, right? And like 1 through 9, like I'm perfectly fine with playing. Like I think they can get the job done. Another thing I like about this Braves lineup that's really encouraging, look at Robbie Grossman's price tag, 2K in the 6 hole. Like that sounds good to me. Again, this helps you to be able to get in these top end arms with these big bats as well. I mean, Ozuna at 3.3K, you can certainly play him. I know he's better against righties. People like to take him there instead, but he's perfectly fine. Michael Harris at 4.5K, lefty. People might not go to it, but the good point about this is like, how long is Rich Hill going to be in there? I mean, this guy could get blown up really easily. That 1 through 4 definitely is going to be expensive, right? Acuna, Swanson, Riley, and Olsen. And then you got Contreras at 4.3K at the catcher position, which sometimes can be tough. One thing that I like to do is 1, I probably won't be playing that 1 through 5 all the way. And 2, maybe I'll only play like 3 of these guys, and then I'll grab 2 from the bottom of the order guys, which likely Robbie Grossman becomes a guy that fits mini stacks like really well. Like if I want to do a Braves mini stack, like just being able to put a 2K guy in there is like super valuable. So really like him in this spot, like I said, and then maybe I'll grab like 1 more bottom of the order guy, make it like 3 guys from the top and then 2 from the bottom, and then go from there. Overall, though, I think this Braves team is certainly in play. Not really playing any Red Sox, though, against Charlie Morton. Yeah, Charlie Morton is a guy that we talked about not wanting to take, but we're not looking to pick on him as well.
Man, going that Eric Hosmer, I just saw him in the lineup. The day you were chirping all that, he hit a deep one to center, like, oh my, like just missed it inches away, deepest part of the ballpark, would have been gone everywhere. I thought it was gone off the bat, and I was about to open Discord, tag you, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so, I must have missed that. Did he do anything else that day? Was it? I
don't know. He might have had a hit. He didn't break the slate like usually the guys we chirp, but I mean, he was that close to a bomb, deep center too. I was just laughing. Man, how do you not like these Braves today?
Yeah, absolutely love them. I agree with you. And I will say, like, the prices are pretty good considering the matchup. Like Acuna 5-1, like that's a very friendly price tag for him. Swanson under 5K. Austin Riley 5-3. I mean, he's been one of the best hitters in baseball all season. You get a high upside catcher, Contreras, for 4.3K, and then you get a bunch of cheapies here right in a row, and Grossman, Ozuna, Arcia. So it's a lineup where you can play everyone. You guys know I absolutely love that. Matt Olson, lefty will probably be relatively low owned, but I think this is a really good spot. Will it be owned? Yes, but again, we have Coors on the slate, so it's not going to be owned to the degree that you think it's going to be owned. I'm loading up here. Love Grossman at 2K. Really like Marcell Ozuna batting 7th, 3.3K on DK, and then 2.6K on FanDuel. I just think he's a very strong option down here. Should be relatively low owned and has the 2 home run upside that we like for these guys at the bottom of the order. So yeah, I'm going to be on the Braves quite a bit here, and then just not playing the Red Sox.
Yep, absolutely. I don't mind lefty. The Michael Harris I always love playing. Austin Riley or Matt Olson lefty as well. And you mentioned ownership. Outside of the Cardinals, I'm just not caring about ownership at the end of the day today. There's so many games on the slate. Cardinals, yes, I definitely care about it, but outside of them, I mean, there's so many ways to stack that Atlanta team, though. Whoever's stacking Atlanta would be surprised if everyone just has different parts of it, since you can play 1 through 9. Next game on the slate, Washington Nationals, Chicago Cubs. Paulo Espino and Marcus Stroman on the mound. Winds blowing in a little bit, it looks like. Not as strong as yesterday. Only 70 degrees in Chicago, 7.5 total. I'll go back to you, Hoop. I wish it was in Washington. If it was 90 plus, I'd be on the Cubs just like I wanted to yesterday against Paulo. But, man, 70 degrees, winds blowing in a little bit. Like, can you get there?
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Cubs a little bit, actually. We got Franmil Reyes now in the lineup, 2.4K, batting 5th, offers some salary relief with upside. Not ideal situation, not like a core situation, but I will have some Cubs. I mean, these guys do have upside. I mean, we're looking for upside. Ortega's cheap. He can get on, steal some bases. You have Contreras at catcher, Suzuki, Happ, and then Reyes. So I'd focus on the top guys here, which is fine because it's going to be low owned. Again, not like all in situation by any means, but I will have some exposure to the Cubs. You get Espino, who sucks, and then the bad Nationals bullpen right behind him. So yeah, I'll have some Cubs, just a little bit, and that's all you need here because it won't be highly owned.
So you're good 5-man stacking it too, or are you going to keep it to?
Yeah, no, I'm good with. I mean, I just want to do. Can I play 5 guys with upside from this lineup? And I think I can. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yep, makes sense. Mangone?
Yeah, you're on Royals, White Sox. Like, yeah, I don't know what to do with this game, right? Is that the one you're on the title? You're smiling.
No, you saw me smiling. I should have. I couldn't keep a straight face. Nationals Cubs.
Oh, yeah, that's not on the slate, is it? They have, I just think it is. I'm looking at the wrong order, but yeah, Nationals Cubs. Yeah, 7.5 total. I'm trying to think because I ran some teams earlier, right? And when I ran the teams, I did notice some Cubs pop up. Now, Espino's not good. And the reason I saw Cubs pop up was because, well, you need 3-man stacks that are cheap sometimes, right? Like you have to find those on this slate, especially if you want to jam in 2 top-end pitchers and you want to jam in these big bats. So maybe I get exposure to some of these Cubs, like an Ortega at the top of the lineup. I don't think we have that lineup yet, but he's cheap, right? If I am playing 3-man stacks, I need cheap guys in it that have some power that can just get me a home run and get me out of it. And we do have the lineup. So we got Ortega at 2.5K. He's a guy that I would definitely consider. Yeah. Framil Reyes at 2.4. We know he has some power there. I'm trying to think who else you can mix out. Obviously, Contreras at catcher. It is a pricey tag to spend, but Ian Happ at 4.1 or Suzuki at 4.2. Not bad options. I wish they were a little bit cheaper to help make that 3-man stack work. But the point I'm getting at is against Espino, I don't think the 3 or 2-man stack of the Cubs is the worst idea, or maybe like a random one-off of like Ortega. He could be really interesting, or like a one-off of Ian Happ. These guys do have the ability and have some power where I'm considering them a little bit here on this slate.
Makes sense. Next game on the slate, Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, the Battle of Texas, Martin Perez, Jose Urquidy on the mound. I see 2 solid pitchers. I see a 7.5 total. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, 14 game slate. We have 2, Perez has been solid this year. And, obviously the Astros lineup is good, but you got to be picky on this slate. And, definitely not going to be picking on Perez. And then, we're on your Urquidy a little bit. So this game is it's definitely a fade for me here.
Mangone?
Yep, easy cross off for me. Don't think I need to go about it. I did want to pull up the BVP because I was just curious because Martin Perez, what is he? He's like really good at getting those ground balls and just like getting throughout damage. If I told you Martin Perez has faced the Astros 173 times and the Astros have 0 home runs. Yeah, we should probably stay away from this spot, right? I'm not saying
173 innings. There's no way 170
at bats. So
okay,
173 at bats altogether. And there's 0 home runs hit. I mean, that's a lot, like, especially for the Astros, right? Like if I told you that the Astros got 173 at bats against Perez, I would definitely be betting the over on 0.5 home runs. That's for sure. And they still haven't done it. So I'm good. I'm going to pass on this one. I think there's better spots on this slate.
What about this one, man? Going Tampa Bay Rays, Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Yarbrough and Freddie Peralta on the mound. What about this one?
Yeah, I hate like these games where they got like the pitcher replacement coming in and like I just don't think the Brewers are a team I'm dying to play on this slate. Would it shock me if they happen to go up? No, but I'm not dying to play them. I think there's better spots. I talked about how the pitchers are really good today, where I think it's better to maybe condense on your hitters. So I'm going to condense on hitters and stay away from the Brewers, and I'm staying away from the Rays as well.
I agree with you. Does Hoop agree with you?
Yeah, no interest. I mean, it's one of those weird situations, like who the hell are the Rays, who they're going to throw out. And then the other thing that's somewhat concerning that I've noticed with the Brewers over the course, I guess, since the trade deadline, they are willing to like pinch hit some of these guys. Like even Rowdy Tellez, when the lefty came in, they yanked him. They yanked Colton Wong as well. When the lefty came in, it was only like that. I don't know. It was like last week. I don't know if you remember, but it was only like the 5th or 6th inning.
Because they called up Keston here and stuff too. Counts is fine going to the bench now.
Yeah. So honestly, that kind of plays a factor for me. And, it's a situation that I feel good, like avoiding, especially on the 14 game slate. So yeah, I'm out. Yeah,
no, I agree with you. We got 6 games left. Simon, you got to get this bot out of the channel as always. 560 watching, 234 likes. We need 300. Should be very easy with this many people watching. It takes 2 seconds. We're on here every single day, except Fridays. Fridays are just for the premium members. Got it. The Friday night fireworks premium show, hour and a half. We talk about it. Otherwise, we're on here 6 days a week, talking free MLB winners. Yesterday, golf, we were on the show, or Hoop. Hoop, Snyder, and AP. We're talking golf. We have MMA every Friday and Saturday. We have NASCAR shows on Sunday. So much content. We appreciate if you hit that like and hit that big red subscribe button. It helps out for us. And again, NFL 15 is the promo code. Gets you 15% off every single month. SaberSim is included. Head over to Run Pure Sports. Check it out. Make sure you get in the Discord as well. 6 games left. Next game on the slate, Coors Field, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Colorado Rockies, Miles Mikolas and Ryan Feltner on the mound. It's warm in Colorado too. I'm surprised you haven't complained yet, man. Going, it's almost 90, it looks like. So, man, how I look at this game, the Cardinals are going to be uber chalk. It's a 14-game slate. Of course, cash games, you're going to play them. If you look at the cash chart, they're going to be tagged. But outside of that, like, I just can't really get to them at this ownership on this big of a slate. As far as the Rockies, I always love playing the other side of the chalk at Coors, but I don't love picking on Miles Mikolas personally. So I'm going to need your guys' help. Hoop, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not convinced that they're going to be as highly owned as.
What do you think?
I'm thinking
20?
upper teens, maybe like 15, 16, 17, just because when you start building lineups, it's not easy. Like it really isn't. Now, I do think guys like Carlson leading off at 4-3, Gorman at 4-4, like I think that's where the ownership comes in at a pretty high rate. But Goldschmidt, you're paying the big price tag, 6-4 for Goldschmidt, Arenado 5-6. You have a full slate here. I'm going to be on him because, like I said, I just don't think the ownership is going to be all that high. Now, if we had a bunch of shitty pitchers going out tonight and you didn't have much to pay out for, then yeah, this spot is one to potentially avoid. But I think I can get over the field here without, essentially being all in. So I will be on the Cardinals, but I do agree with you on the Rockies side. And I just look at their lineup. I don't like their lineup either. So the combination of Mikolas being decent and the Rockies lineup kind of being shitty, like Jose Iglesias, Brendan Rodgers in the middle of the order, makes it easy for me to kind of just be off and move on from. So yeah, I will be on the Cardinals. The thing is, you need to look to be a little bit different. I think really good play on this, like Tommy Edman batting ninth. Like no one's paying 4-6 for him batting ninth. He's expensive on FanDuel as well. I think he's a guy to look at. But a guy like Lars Nootbaar is going to be super, super popular. I mean, maybe that's the guy like you don't play or something in your stacks. But you got to be unique for sure when stacking the Cardinals. So yeah, I'm going to be on them and then just not going to play the Rockies.
Yeah, Edmund would be my favorite for all. I mean, who was going to the 9 hole at that price tag and he gets second base and shortstop too. The one Rocky I will say is that Montero dude, first base, third base eligible. He's 2.5. He's been swinging a little hot stick. I don't know much about him, but he's one that stands out a little bit. But I agree, I can't get there. But Mangone, you're the Colorado guy. Are you going to get to St. Louis and then talk about the Rockies?
Yeah. Oh man. Like, me, don't love playing the Coors Field, like going to the games and like watching it. But, I do not love rostering it DFS wise. I like the slates better without him. I was going to try and just fade it completely. I think it's a little harder to, just because I think there's some decent values that help make some things work. So I'm currently making it where my St. Louis Cardinals teams, I'm not going to do any 5-man stacks. I'm really sticking to 3 and 2-man stacks. Lars Nootbaar obviously is going to be higher owned, but he is a way of salary relief to help make some things work. Dylan Carlson at 4.3K, maybe him and a Nolan Gorman. They're both really interesting options. If you look at this Ryan Feltner guy, some of the stuff that I notice is he has his most struggles against lefties, and he actually has suppressed some power against righties. And who are those power bats, right? Well, it's Goldschmidt, Arenado, and O'Neill. I'm not saying to fade them by any means, but I'm just saying maybe throughout your teams, you want to have 2 or 3 lefties. You want to make sure you get them in there because this Cardinals team is typically a righty heavy lineup. So that's something I'm going to look at. One point that Hoop brought up that I thought was really good was Tommy Edman at 4.6K. Put him into your lineup. Just people are not going to do that. And I agree with him. And if you do that, man, you are going to be one different from with your teams. And 2, it might be really hard to get in these top end pitchers. So curious to see if you run a 5-man Cardinal stack and you lock Tommy Edman, what does it do? What pitchers does it get you? What other bats does it put in your lineups? That'd be something that I'd be wanting to look at for sure. So overall, I like the Cardinals. I prefer them more as that mini stack, I guess. But overall, I do think this is a spot that you can't completely ignore on this slate. So that's kind of my overall thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, warm weather, Coors Field, biggest total on the slate. You definitely can't ignore, but hey, people know about it. It'll be interesting to see what that Cardinals ownership comes in. It depends on big field GPP too, high stakes, smaller field stuff as well. So always got to think about that depending on what tournament you are joining. Next game on the slate, San Francisco Giants, San Diego Padres, Alex Cobb, Joe Musgrove on the mound. Feels like, I don't know, what game was that? The Martin Perez Urquidy game? 2 solid pitchers, 7.5 total, Pitchers Park. What we doing, man? Going?
Yeah, 7.5 total, not dying to play it. The Giants, their lineups, it's okay, but it's definitely, it's a little more watered down. Padres, I mean, obviously they have a loaded lineup, get Alex Cobb here. You could take a shot on it, but these guys, I mean, they haven't had a run in 23 innings. And like, unless this was like a dream spot where it's like a Espino on the mound or just some absolute bum, maybe that Reds pitcher, right? Like then I'd maybe consider it, but not looking to go there here against Alex Cobb. Just don't think it's necessary on this slate. So fade in this 7.5 total.
We just had a look when Tatis will be back. It looks like mid-August-ish was mid-August-ish. So yeah, who knows when he's going to be back, but sooner rather than later, hopefully. And man, that lineup just will look so much better seeing that Fernando Tatis name in it. Hoop, any interest today?
No, this game is definitely a fade for me. Low total, not much interest, or actually no interest at all. So I'll be fading this one.
I mean, I'm talking low totals. This next one's even lower, 6.5. Otani,
next.
Caprillion, Mangone. I shouldn't even ask.
No, not for me. I mean, this game's bad. Like 6.5 total. Like again, if a 6.5 total beats me on a 15-game slate, like I'm down to lose money tonight.
We got 3 games left. We need 46 more likes. It's the last time I'll ask. We appreciate if you do hit it. 300's the number for the plays of the day. And then that big red subscribe button too takes 2 seconds. We appreciate it. 3 games left though. Next game on the slate, Pittsburgh Pirates, Arizona Diamondbacks, Zach Thompson and Tommy Henry on the mound. Hoop, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so the Diamondbacks were another popular team last night that somewhat failed, or actually they did fail. They only scored 3. I'm willing to go back to them tonight. A good matchup here against Zach Thompson. And there's some salary relief in this lineup, like Alec Thomas, assuming that he's batting second, super cheap. Christian Walker, I like Varsho again tonight. So yeah, definitely interested in the Diamondbacks. It will be the primary guys at the top of the order. And then honestly, slight interest in the Pirates. They're going to be unowned on this slate. But I don't mind the lineup that they can potentially throw out here against the righty. Michael Chavis was he 2.2K or 2K flat, and he should be in the middle of that order. Brian Hayes, interesting here. Probably just mini stacks, not going to be 5-man stacking the Pirates, but I do like the Pirates here as a 3-man mini stack. So that's so I guess an interesting game for me, a game that I kind of like here.
Mangone, Pittsburgh, Arizona.
Yeah, I've definitely seen Pittsburgh like a little bit as like 3-man stacks to consider, just because like when you jam in 2 top-end pitchers and then you jam in a 5-man stack, like you need someone cheap, right? Like that's why I talked about the Cubs earlier as like someone to consider. So I think Hoop brings up good points to the Pirates. I like Arizona a little bit here. Zach Thompson has had his struggles against lefties. So then what are the lefties we're looking at? Well, I think Alec Thomas is a pretty good play. Josh Rojas isn't bad, but my problem is 4.6K. I just don't know if I want to allocate my salary there. Sure, if I have the money, I'll do it, but just don't know if I'll get there. So like I said, I like Alec Thomas at 3.5K. Dalton Varsho has been a beast at 4.1, so don't mind him. McCarthy at 3K, Seth Beer at 2K, definitely all in play. And then, depending on what catcher we get in there, maybe we get like a cheap catcher option. It's like a 2K punt on the not the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks. That could be in play. So overall, I think these Diamondbacks, these lefties are the ones I'm looking at, and I'm looking at them more as mini stacks rather than 5-mans.
Makes some sense. 2 games left. Minnesota Twins, Los Angeles Dodgers, Joe Ryan, Julio Urias on the mound. Mangone, I'll go back to you. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are just a team, like, I'm kind of waiting until September to get more on them. They just feel like they have not, like, yes, when they're at home, they haven't crushed as much. On the road, they definitely have their success, but not looking to go to them that much here in this spot. Joe Ryan has had some struggles. That's one thing to mention is he looks like a really good name, but he has had his issues with some power. So overall, Dodgers, if you want to play them, like, go for it. I'm curious to see what Hoop says because he talks about those Dodgers a lot more than me. I'm just currently staying away from the Dodgers when they're in LA on these bigger slates in August, right? I'm waiting until September when it gets cooler around other parts, and then I'll go from there.
Well, there's a reason I went to you first because I think I do know what Hoop's going to do. Even though it's not a Friday, Hoop, I think you're going to be on some of these guys. Talk about this game.
Yeah, I got to be on them a little bit, and should be, pretty much not unowned, but very low owned. Lineup still not out, which will lower the ownership. Not a core play team by any means, but a team that I can allocate a small percentage of resources to and get way over the field. So I'm going to be on some of my guys here. Cody Bellinger had that double dong, I believe, on Sunday night. Max Muncy, very cheap on FanDuel at 2.7K.
He's been that price literally like all year.
Yeah, all season long. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to be on some Dodgers here again. They're going to be low on, easy to get over the field.
Last game, New York Yankees, Seattle Mariners, Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo on the mound, 7 total, pitchers park, 2 good pitchers. Pass.
Yeah, pass for me.
Yep, 7 total. I mean, yeah, sure. Garrett Cole got to him last time, but Seattle got the Garrett Cole last time, but was a shorter slate, not the right slate. And here's another thing. Like, this pitching is so spread out. Like, you don't have this value of being like, well, we have a Garrett Cole at like 60% owned. If you can leverage that stack, like, that's just not a thing on this slate. So not worrying about leveraging, hitters on the pitchers on this slate.
You bet. We're going to get to our stacks and then hopefully plays the day. I will check back at the likes. Hopefully we got 300, but let's talk stacks. I'll start with myself. The Atlanta Braves are my favorite stack on this slate, so I'll just give one. Really like them 1 through 9. I think you can play them all. Mangone, give me your top 3 stacks.
Yeah, top 3 stacks. So I'm going to go with.
No one could say Cardinals. Obviously, the Cardinals.
I was just making sure. I was about to say something about that because they were maybe going to make that cut, but I was like, I don't think I should have them. So I'm going Mets as my number 1, Braves is my number 2, and then my number 3 is going to be Arizona. So those will be my stacks.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Braves. And I'm gonna go Blue Jays, and then I'm gonna go as a contrarian play that Pirates mini stack, just 3-man stack, depending on who's in this lineup, but a Pirates 3-man as a contrarian option.
Nice, man. Go mention that a little bit too. That is all 14 games on this slate, man. Big pitching, a lot of hitting. It's a really good slate for sure. I think it's one of the better slates we've seen. Monster prize pools, as always. If you want to check out the playbook, the core plays, the premium show, all of that, you do have to be a member. Head over to Umpires Sports. Promo code is NFL15. Gets you 15% off for life as long as you don't cancel. SaberSim is also included. NFL will be here before we know it. NBA will be here before we know it. Can't leave off hockey when we're talking the winter as well. So much. I mean, there's always sports going on throughout the whole year. But once NFL comes, man, you look at those prize pools on DraftKings right now. FanDuel got to have contests up pretty soon. But monster prize pools as always. So can't wait for that. NFL 15 gets you 15% off your life subscription. Checking the likes. Man, right on the dot. 300 on the dot. We appreciate it. You guys did get the job done. So let's hit the plays of the day. I'm going to start with myself. It's going to be an Atlanta Brave, of course. Man, right in the heart of the order. How can I ignore Austin Riley sitting there? 5.3K. He is a little expensive, but man, swinging a hot stick against this old dude, the lefty, gets the platoon advantage. Fenway, nice weather. Austin Riley is the SO play of the day. Man, going over to you, the Sweet Travis play of the day. Who do you got?
Yeah, I don't know how much I have to worry about ownership today and everything like that, but let's go with this. Let's go with Jeff McNeil. I like him at 4.2K. I think he's a pretty good option. Like I said, I love a lot of these guys in this Mets lineup, but we'll go with Jeff McNeil in that 6 hole at 4.2K because he might be a little bit lower on because, again, when you kind of start jamming in Marte, you jam in Lindor, you jam in Alonso, start running out a little bit of salary. So we'll go with Jeff McNeil as the play of the day.
Someone in chat quick asked, is Pittsburgh lineup confirmed? I don't see a lineup out. I don't think you either. I don't think there is a lineup out yet. Yeah. And then Michael Knack asked, did I steal anyone's play of the day? I did not steal Mangone's. Did I steal yours, Hoop?
Same team. I'm going same team as you.
Rich Parents play of the day.
Yeah, you didn't steal my play, so we're kind of partnered up here. You got the guy in the 3 hole. I got the guy in the 7 hole. Marcell Ozuna is going to be the Rich Parents play of the day. Love him down there batting 7th.
I love it. Jeff McNeil, Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, the 3 plays of the day. It was a longer show than usual with so many games. The Up to Lock show will be coming up pretty soon. Head over to the live show chat. We'll see you all in there. Fun slate. Hope to see some RPS logos up top. NFL 15 is the promo code. Head over on Pierce Sports. Check it out. Make sure you get in the Discord. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button on the way out. We'll be back tomorrow as always for Hoop, Mangone, Simon Behind the Sticks. I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.